You are listening to My Thing Is This with your host, Miss Prina, the podcast with that woman who always got something to say about everything. Pop culture, social media, news, all those things you probably talk about with your friends after you had a few glasses of wine. When you're feeling a little intellectual, sit back and don't fast forward because that's what this podcast is all about. My Thing Is This starts now. All right, y'all. So I was sitting here trying to think of a good way to greet y'all. Would it be like I do on my Snapchat or my YouTube? Like, hey, Snapchat, what's up, YouTube? You know how they be doing on there. But probably not. Fact is, you all don't know me. But today, with the premiere episode of My Thing Is This, you're about to find out who I am today. So today is 313 Day. If you're from Detroit, it's, one of those days, made up holidays, almost like Sweetie's Day, because 313, March 13th is also our zip code. So I choose this day because I'm a Detroit baby, and that's for sure. The sooner you know, the better, because a lot of my experiences and stories were birthed there. I'm living in New York, trying to eventually break into the media world, TV production, and radio. All these companies be sleeping on me. I decided to go ahead and fake it till I make it. Go ahead and jump on this new platform and start a podcast. So, a little bit about me. I am a 33-year-old married woman with a slight addiction to news stories and gossip. Probably a lot of the gossip part. Now, I talk too much, but that is also why I'm entering this new little space right here. You can expect a lot of conversation, and sometimes I might play a little devil's advocate, and doesn't hurt to see the other side of things that we feel strongly about. In addition to this podcast, I do a Facebook Live 2 times a week, and it is called T-Chat Live. Of course, you can find that anywhere online with the hashtag T, like sipping tea, T-Chat Live. Now, when I say I eat and sleep news, I tells no lie, okay? Listen, I am very opinionated, but also can take what I dish out. I don't play them games when it comes to racism, and I call bullshit on the fake woke sires of the world, okay? This is my thing. We can't ignore the conversation when we haven't even figured out a solution. This is with everything in life. Now, I'm getting ready to go to grad school in upstate New York, and there are going to be a lot of probably like woe is me stories, and the struggle is real going on up there. I definitely try not to curse, but sometimes, when I go on one of my bumbling rants, it might happen. So, boom goes the dynamite. I love music at heart. So, of course, I plan to discuss music, rappers, that little side of the world. And, of course, probably even share some of my playlists, It's always good to know what kind of music a person listens to. It tells you a lot about them. Now, this podcast is created in an expensive soapbox in the middle of Long Island, New York, and you can expect new episodes every Wednesday by 3 p.m. to kind of get you over that hump day. Now, my goal is to keep it under 30 minutes, but if I have a guest, then of course it will definitely be longer than that. I do this because I love it, so make sure you download and replay it for your friends. Now, y'all ready? Let's get into today's topics. Y'all be trying to be all, uniform and, all proper, but look, we just gonna talk, have a discussion. I'm gonna have a mini rant. This the first episode. All right, so today's discussion is going to be all about the whole reboot. I like to call it the whole reboot fascination that people are having nowadays, meaning all these TV networks, ABC, Fox, NBC, even a few reboots and cartoons, y'all. Like, it's getting a little crazy. Now, this is going to be a small, short rant. I actually talked about this a few weeks ago. Don't be mistaken. It's a rant. So, we all been hearing about all these different shows coming back. Will and Grace, it came back. It's been somewhat successful. They got X-Files already came back on a reboot. They actually coming back with 24 Legacy. I've been seeing promos for that. American Idol just came back, and it's not even on Fox no more. They're trying to bring back Charmed, Roseanne. That one's getting real hyped up about Roseanne. Full House came back on the Netflix. And we're hearing rumors about Martin coming back. Here's my thing when it comes to these reboots. And I'm going to try not to get hyped because, I ain't trying to be, I don't want to sound like a psychopath. But listen, when you had these glory days of these TV shows and, your shows was popular and it was lasting long and, and people would sit up in front of their TV like TGIF on Fridays and, people was hurry up and trying to get home and watch all their favorite primetime shows at 8 o'clock. This was in the 90s. This is before majority of the people knew how to use the internet. This is before the people had the internet on their phones and could access TV shows anywhere through apps. This is before all that. So you have to think that is a major reason why those television shows probably were popular at the time. And y'all remember it. Come on, y'all remember when your shows used to come on, you like, dang. If you missed it or you fell asleep on it, you just had to hope and pray to God that you would get a rerun before the season was over with. But like, I used to hate that stuff. Like, you missed the episode, it was good, and people was gonna talk about it. You gonna be like, oh, I can't even rewind this or nothing. Only people who could probably rewind it is when they start making like cable to be able to be rewound like during that time. But you can't relive the glory days. I mean, these reboots coming back is like, your auntie that's in her 50s trying to pull back out her, her bell bottom jeans, and her halter top. It's like, yeah, it's still cute. And it's all still good, and it's still a good outfit, but it's really not gonna work on your 50-year-old body, auntie. You like, you know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things. Like, yeah, we loved it for the time and for what it is, but it's really not gonna fit here in this era, in this time, because a lot of shows, if you notice now lately, are going into an aspect where they are trying to be a little bit more diverse. I wasn't going to say it, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. A lot of TV shows throughout the 90s, although they were good, a lot of them weren't that diverse. They either were all black people or all white people. Like, let's just keep it real. I mean, Friends didn't even get a black girl on air until it was around the last few years before it went off the air. Come on. You got all them Friends in New York and now one of y'all is black. So, I mean, you got to think about the times these shows was out and when they were popular and how like the world was. And today, as you can see, just by knowing like what shows are popular on TV and by the ratings, look, if it ain't some type of superhero show, or some type of, drama show, or something where like, I don't know, black girl dating a white guy or vice versa, then it ain't really hitting for much, and then that's not even a main concept. It actually has to be about something. So this whole reboot thing and everybody trying to reboot all these shows, it's just not gonna work for nowadays, Yeah, people still watch live TV, but boo-boo. We want to watch stuff that's on demand. You're gonna be watching stuff that's on streaming services, and a lot of shows, let's just keep it real, a lot of shows, even Will and Grace, like I actually watch the reboot shows of Will and Grace, and it's still good, it's still kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like you can really tell a lot of their political opinions and stuff are being thrown into these shows. And right now, really, the only other black show that's on TV that I can even think of that's on standard TV, not cable, is Blackish. Like, there is no other show on TV like Blackish. Everything else is like crime fighting or suspect or like, scandal or that type of drama. None of them is actually, a family sitcom. This is happening. That's Blackish is really the only sitcom that's like probably performed in front of a studio audience on TV right now. So this whole reboot thing that everybody's trying to do, I mean, it's just really not gonna work. The culture has changed, the style, even the messages. Like, you think about all those messages that was in these shows back in the day, in the 90s. Nowadays, ain't no bullying no more, and people know not to really, do drugs, and the messages from back then are just completely different messages. And I think if they had to come up with, more TV shows or even reboot these old 90s shows, they will be talking about a lot of political topics and a lot of topics in racism and probably a lot of topics in cultural appropriation or hip hop or music, because that's kind of like what things are all about nowadays. Now, back in the day, because listen, I always say back in the day, but I watched a lot of TV when I was younger. I mean, my schedule was go to school, come back, watch TV, and then bam, it was over. I went to sleep and repeat. I watched TV before school and after school, and it wasn't a bad thing. I feel like I learned a lot from watching TV. It's another reason why I have watching TV and watching a lot of movies growing up is the reason why I have such a creative mind or imaginative mind. If you watch a lot of TV back in the day, you always notice that every series had that, key wedding episode, the episode where somebody's either pregnant or announced that they was pregnant or whatever the case may be. And then, of course, you had those serious episodes. Everybody had at least one serious episode that had something to do about either bullies or drug use or something like that. I mean, just thinking about it, I could tell you there was an episode like that in Fresh Prince, Family Matters, like easy. It was always that. Oh, and y'all remember when they used to do a little serious message at the end, and like everybody from the show would sit on the couch and be like, if you need help or if you're suffering from bullying or whatever, then this is a help hotline. Look, this is not the 90s or more. TV not gonna really work like that. And it's almost like with when you turn books into movies, or when you try to reboot or redo a superhero flick, people are going to look forward to these characters either being the same or being similar or somewhat following through. And a lot of shows really can't even offer that follow through because a lot of those people have passed. They've moved on, or just not in the industry at all. Like, can you imagine if they tried to do a reboot of In the House? Yeah, we all know that ain't happening. And if anything, if you really think about it, I mean, how many of these shows that's going to be rebooted are actually going to be any of the black television shows? Like, nobody really thought about that. If you think about most of the TV shows back in the day, a lot of them weren't black. And we already know how everybody feel about the Cosby Show. So tell me exactly what show's about to get rebooted and how are you going to change some characters around so that they can reflect that audience? And that's my issue. And of course, you guys are going to hear this a lot in some of my other podcasts about my, rants on diversity and, how I feel about that because, baby, it's a real thing. I feel so much passionate when it comes to diversity, and people really need to think about when they come up with ideas about rebooting shows and reviving these shows from the dead, how are they going to reflect the new audience? How are they going to, be able to even make money in those ads, those advertisements, or whatever the case may be? I definitely got to throw the laugh track away because ain't nobody trying to listen to no laugh track. You feel what I'm saying? Anyway, so people who make these TV shows, all they're saying to me is they have a lack of creativity. Now, we already know you only let a certain amount of people in Hollywood and a certain amount of directors in Hollywood, but this is the reason why reality TV is so popular, because there are so many stories that can be told, so many stories that can be created, and storylines and episodes of these shows that can be told and created, but we never see them on TV. I mean, there's only so many cases of Law and Order SVU can do, but I promise you they're going to keep on coming out with more episodes over the next 20, 30 years because they can actually, get some insight on these actual topics and stories or whatever the case may be. So my thing is this: be creative, get more creativity, because another thing, gotta mention this. A lot of those shows, like the shows that used to come on TGIF, were written and produced by the Miller Boyett producers. Those are like old white men that's in their 80s and 90s now. So you have to try to duplicate their exact process and mindset that they had in the 90s and try to do that over 20 years later. Nah, that's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. So, when people are watching, these reality TV shows, they're liking those shows because that's a different storyline. That's something that's showing something that's worse than their lives or worse than their personal storyline. So that's why these reality TVs, and surprisingly enough, we're still in a reality TV era, and that's why these reality TV shows are so popular now, because y'all are up here trying to reboot old TV shows with old messages and the same old stories, when somebody need to be over to the side trying to get new talent in Hollywood and get new stories and new creativity. The creativity is out there, but y'all need to go ahead and open the door and accept it. Plain and simple. That's why y'all got reality TV shows out here on the air for 10, 15 years. Really? Some of these reality shows out here that last longer than some of our favorite television shows. No lie. Like, been on the air longer than The Fresh Prince was, longer than Friends was, and y'all, these reality shows has been on air longer than that. Yeah, that says a lot. That really does say a lot about our television and how it's being produced. And that's why YouTube is so popular, and that's why you got these YouTubers with 15 million views, 17 million views, and they're able to make 6 figures online because regular TV just ain't hitting it for it. People want to hear real stories. It's videos on YouTube, y'all, getting views, and all the people's doing is sitting in front of the camera talking about what they did on Tuesday. Like, that right there says to me that the world is so earning for stories and information and to be nosy, and the creativity is just not there. So people need to get it together. Stop trying to reboot all these shows. I mean, if you're gonna reboot them, do it the same line or same idea or characters, but make it a continuation. Don't make it a reboot. Nobody want to hear all that. Anyway, that's my opinion. That's all I gotta say on the reboot. Of course, we will come back and revisit this in the future, of course, as always. Anyway, I want to thank anybody who listened to this, download this, tell a friend, share a friend, like a friend. No, that wasn't right. Anyway, you guys, thanks for listening. My thing is this, episode 1. Download episodes from iTunes, Spreaker, anytime. You can find me anywhere online with the hashtag The Pre-Party. That's with an I and not an E. That's me, Perinadine. I'm out.